Imagine taking off into the clear Utah skies, expecting just another short flight over familiar terrain. But then, just minutes after takeoff, the unthinkable happens. The plane begins to descend uncontrollably. This is the story of a crash that shocked everyone, a tragedy that unfolded in the dead of winter in Utah, where the conditions only made things worse. Pause for emphasis. What could have gone wrong so quickly after takeoff? Was it the brutal winter weather, an overlooked mechanical issue, or something else entirely? Today, we're diving into the chain of events that led to this devastating crash, examining every decision, every piece of equipment, and every possible factor that could have contributed to the disaster. Begin with context on the flight and weather conditions. On the day of the flight, the weather was harsh, with biting winds and temperatures well below freezing. Snow covered the ground, and the freezing air was a constant reminder of just how brutal winter could be in Utah. But for the experienced pilot, this flight seemed routine. Familiar with the area and the winter challenges, he was well prepared to navigate these skies. At least, that's what everyone thought. Describe the takeoff and sudden shift. As the plane took off, passengers settled in, trusting the pilot's skill and the aircraft's capability. For a moment, everything seemed normal, the plane climbing steadily into the cold, crisp sky. But then, without warning, things started to go wrong. The plane began to shudder, and a sudden, strange noise filled the cabin. Moments later, it became clear that the plane was losing altitude. Build suspense around the unfolding crisis. In those crucial seconds, the pilot and crew worked frantically, checking every control, searching for answers. But the plane kept descending. Every second brought them closer to the ground, closer to a tragic end. Panic gripped the passengers as they realized something was terribly wrong. In the dead of winter, the Utah landscape below looked cold, unforgiving, and deadly. Transition to investigation and potential causes. When the plane finally crashed, the impact was devastating. Rescue teams were immediately dispatched, but the winter conditions made reaching the site a challenge. Investigators quickly began their work, analyzing every piece of debris, every bit of data, trying to determine what had caused the sudden descent. Was it ice buildup on the wings, a mechanical malfunction, or pilot error? The freezing temperatures made everything more difficult, from the initial rescue to the detailed analysis of the crash. Explore possible technical factors and weather impact. Experts began piecing together evidence and studying the effects of the extreme cold on the plane's performance. Was the plane properly de-iced before takeoff? Did the icy air somehow interfere with the engine? Or was there an undetected fault that only revealed itself midair? The winter conditions became a key focus, as the deadly cold had likely compromised both the plane and the rescue efforts. Recount the aftermath and impact on families and aviation. As investigators wrapped up their analysis, families of the passengers struggled with the devastating loss, demanding answers. The aviation community was left to reckon with the risks of winter flight, and new procedures were introduced to prevent a similar tragedy. This crash served as a haunting reminder of the dangers lurking in the skies, especially during the harsh winter months. Final reflection. This story is a powerful reminder that in aviation, every small detail counts, every check, every procedure, and every moment of decision-making. It's a story of winter's unforgiving grip and the fragile line between life and disaster. The lessons learned from this tragic flight continue to shape winter aviation safety to this day, ensuring that no one forgets the high cost of a single, chilling mistake.